T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Let's get ready to sucker!
Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of sun. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me, yeah. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar signs. Try to take it from me. Big time. I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try and take it from me, from me, from me, from me. Big time, double nine. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind.
And what's up, everybody? It is a Tuesday edition of the Ysn Power Hour, September 21st, 2021. And it is National World Gratitude Day. World Gratitude Day. So the question across the board for our panelists today, what are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? Not what are you thankful for? What are you grateful for? William? Adieu.
I am grateful for, me? Can we do that? The world revolves around me. I mean, this isn't old news here. I don't know. You know what? I'm just grateful for today and what tomorrow could bring. How about that?
You're not grateful for the fine china behind you?
It could be like Vanna White.
The fine china of Billy McCartney.
Quinn, not to be confused with China. Just China.
The China virus. They got us. Quinn?
I'm grateful for friends and family and for that nice little ad box that's taken off half my head, so it makes me look kind of normal.
Well, we did talk about giving you a haircut before the show, so
there you go.
That's what you would look like, kind of. Just a little bit. Just imagine no hair on top. You'd be good.
Ooh.
No.
Tuesdays. That's what Tuesdays are for.
No hair Tuesdays? I like it.
Well, Tuesdays are my lazy days, so I just, lay around.
Cool. hey, to each their own, man. It's Taco Tuesday as well, so throw some tacos on that. I got a little something for you, Bill. You're not gonna like this. You're not gonna like this, but we'll talk about it in a minute. Rob, what are you grateful for?
Two things: Code Red Mountain Dew, and having a self-esteem that's not so entirely low that I'm not bothered by the fact that I'm not in the intro video yet.
So what you're saying is you're offended.
Is this number 5? This is number 5. This is number 5 for you, right? I believe.
I lost track.
Well, if we can't get to 5, we're in trouble. I think this is 5. I think this is 5. Once you get to 10, you get in the video. And maybe we'll shorten it a little bit for you so you're not so mad whenever we come out of it after a 2-minute video. So, all right. EB, what are you grateful for?
Coffee, for sure, coffee. I don't know. Then outside of like friends and family and sports, we'll probably being able to be a part of you guys, jump on, do games, Power Hour. Just another layer to keep you involved in everything that you love to do.
Thank you very much. Here we go. Everybody hold your ears. Clanging and banging. Paul, what are you grateful for?
Am I grateful for? My family, the girls. Wasn't for the girls, I'd probably be in a hole somewhere, side of the road in a ditch.
Sounds like you need to get some boys in your life.
He's got plenty.
Yeah.
My boy,
That's right. 5 of them on here.
Mine, I'm grateful for, number 1, EB, good call. But this time of year, as the temperatures start to dip down, apple cider is my go-to. I don't know why. In the morning, hot apple cider is awesome. Love it.
I only get it from one place.
Do you want to give a shout?
Yeah, White House, Fruit Farms. That's it. It's the only place that's good. Have you seen me? Absolutely.
There's a place in Columbiana that has blueberry donuts that I just found
Not the
out
same.
about. Oh, it's pretty similar. I'm not gonna lie to you.
The only other place that could compare to White House Donuts would be Shaker Woods Festival. Oh my God, those things are amazing.
Do they make blueberry at Shaker Woods too?
Honestly, they make a few flavors, but the most famous one is, of course, the apple cinnamon or whatever it is.
Those are awesome.
Yeah.
The hot ones, like straight out. Yeah, those are the best. Those are the best. Was it Hogan's, EB? Is it
Yeah.
Hogan's? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, theirs is pretty close to White House. I don't know if they're not exactly the same, but they're a close second.
Jeff is grateful for any cool beer and music. Is anybody surprised by those two selections? Cool beer is Bud Light, and music is Panama, and that's it. That's about Panama. It's as bad. I don't want to say it's as bad. It's as crazy as every time Steve Leslie pulls in, it's Thunderstruck, like on 50, and every time Jeff pulls in, it's Panama, and it's just Panama in a.
Hey, at least it's with David Lee Roth and not Sammy Hagar, because Van Halen was not as good with Sammy Hagar.
What does Jeff drive? A Cobalt?
No, he's got like a Malibu, Chevy Malibu.
With the New York Yankees sticker on the back. Every time I think about Jeff coming in, it's always he's pulling up and then backing into a space with his New York Yankees logo on the back of his Malibu. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend him or upgrade him to a Cobalt. But Panama every single time. And wasn't
Yankees outside
that the
looking
same
in too.
song he got yelled at by his neighbors for blasting at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning?
Probably.
Panama. All right, boys. So here's an interesting question. I think I've posed this to some of you before for today's Bear Brothers Would You Rather. I know I posed this to Tony Foster when we went out to eat. Would you rather have a yacht for the rest of your life and be able to travel wherever you want on that, or have your own private jet and be able to travel around on the private jet? That is your would you rather. William?
Did you say something in water?
Yacht.
I'm good. Yeah, water. Let's go.
Wow, okay. Didn't see that one. Quinn?
Yeah, give me the yacht. 100%.
I am stunned by this. Let's go, Paul.
The jet would be awesome, but yeah, the yacht. I mean, it's a floating house, so you have all the amenities of a nice house floating around, and you can pull into any dock pretty much in the world and be good with it. I mean, the jet would be cool. You can go anywhere you want in the world, obviously, but I mean, it's not as big and luxurious as a yacht. I mean, especially some of the yachts that are out there. Holy crap.
You know, every time I think of a yacht, I think of the music video, Jay-Z, Big Pimpin'.
Yeah.
That's it. That's every time I think of a yacht. Big Pimp. Yeah.
Would you play that if you had a yacht?
B.I.G.'s Hypnotized, too, was a good one to add some yachts on there.
Oh, yeah, that one, too.
Had a song. I mean,
No,
The only song you need for a yacht is boats and hoes, and there's nothing else.
I don't know. There's another one. I'm on a boat would be good too, just so I can run around and say, I got my flippy floppies.
That's it. I mean, Rob, are you taking a plane or a boat?
Well, feeding off what we were talking about yesterday, so when you're on vacation too, man, for too long, you get tired of it after a while. And yeah, jet, you can go anywhere in the world you want to, but like Paul's saying, if you've watched shows or even TikTok videos regarding multi-million-dollar yachts compared to multi-million-dollar jets, it's not even close. I mean, you can basically live in this thing and live very comfortably. So I got to go with the yacht.
Wow. Are we going to get a sweep here, EB?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I think of a jet for like traveling purposes just because you get there comfortably. But then I think of people like Jerry Jones and the super yacht that he has. How badass would that be to where it'd be second to none? I think we're going to have to sweep it and go with a yacht.
I think we need to get like an HQ to be on a yacht. Like, make that happen, DJ. HQ is moving from East Palestine to a yacht.
Unless there's a big lake that I don't know about in Colombia.
And we'll take helicopters there, so it's just floating in the
My goodness.
Mardell, can you be more specific on that? I'm not sure what he's talking about there.
Nope, he can't. He can't be. He cannot be.
Listen, it's all about the motion in the ocean.
Yes, it is. I would take the private jet, I think, just because I'm going to get there faster than being on a boat. I would assume, right? Obviously? Like,
yeah.
Is it that obvious?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the yacht's going to take a little longer to get there, but at the same time, I mean, it's just you're
yeah, but think about it too. If you're on a plane, I mean, when people go on vacation, where do they go to vacation to? They don't go to, the Arch in St. Louis. They go to the beach in Florida, right? Or Greece or wherever. I mean, you're going to be in a lot more hot destinations with a yacht.
I think with me, it's more like, hey, I have no plans to go anywhere, so put me on a yacht. Like, just let me float around.
I mean, like, we flew to Jamaica, so, you can fly to Jamaica and then get off and then go for a dip, I guess.
Yeah, but then again, I could just hop on my helicopter.
You don't get a helicopter with your yacht.
Oh yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Oh yes, you do.
I thought we said that. I thought we were all going to have our personal helicopter.
That's ridiculous.
It's got a speedboat on the back of it with some jet skis. I mean, you got a yacht. It's.
Wait a minute. Well, if we're playing that game, then I've got jet skis attached to the wings of my plane.
That'll cost drag.
You better hold tight. We lost one.
I'll land on the beach in my private jet. I'll fly off to the beach and get on a friend's yacht.
So, Gary, I named the nickname for my yacht is Mush the Douche.
Just so people don't pronounce it improper, right?
Well, yeah, we were going to talk to DJ about that because he calls me Mush and I like it. It cracks me up. But I always tell everybody, because you meet somebody, you forget their name instantly. You got to hear their name at least 3 times to remember the name. Can we all agree on that?
Yep.
So I tell people, I said, listen, my last name is actually Mush. That's what a lot of people call me by. It rhymes with douche, so you never forget it. And they never forget it.
I just like calling you Mush.
It's got a nice ring.
It does. And I when Paul explained that same exact scenario to me on Friday night, I can't call him that now because that's what I'm going to say, Moosh the douche. But no, what is that noise? Is that you, Paul?
Yeah, they're throwing a weighted ball.
Getting ready for those Girard Indians on Friday.
Yeah. No, it's baseball, guys.
Oh, it's baseball, guys? Tell them to
Yeah.
calm down.
Yeah. No, that's how, when I'm in the weight room, it's for the baseball guys. Football team's out
And
practicing.
there's a no contact period right now for baseball.
Dude, where am I at for an hour that they're out here? Right here.
I'm just kidding. You can do the weight stuff, and you're a JV coach.
I do no instruction at all. You guys good? Yep. Okay. See you later. I'm over here.
Don't hurt yourself.
That's it. Don't drop a weight on your toe.
So that was our Would You Rather, brought to you by our great friends over at bearbrothers.com. Visit them on the web at bearbrothers.com. And listen, when you go there, please say thank you because of all the support that these sponsors and advertisers do. Because I'm assuming people are watching games because I looked at the stats. 330,000 views in the month of September so far, and we still have, another 9 days? People are watching, and these sponsors are the reason. So make sure you say thank you to them because they're making it absolutely free for you. Not just tonight, not just this Friday, but every single part of the year this year. So thank you very much to your sponsors and advertisers as we thank them every day. Breaking news this afternoon, Beaver Local will not be playing on Thursday, at least against Oakland. That game canceled because Oakland is quarantining their kids.
We were going to do something so cool, and you blew it. COVID.
I was bummed. I'm not going to lie to you about that because did anybody else watch Peyton and Eli again last night? Because I did.
I watched them for the first time last night, and they were hilarious.
I will only watch Peyton and Eli from here on out.
I was waiting on Jeff to chime in because they had his best buddy on there for the last portion of the game, and I thought Jeff was probably sitting there drooling all over his TV.
Well, they do the same thing we do. You notice that? Like Peyton teased something and then completely forgot about it in the next segment. That's what professionals are able to do that because there's people in their ear saying, "Hey, don't forget about this." For us, I got these guys. That's all I got. And if I don't write it down and say, and even if I write it down, I'll forget about it. But because we get to talking, but Peyton's like, we're going to talk Tennessee and Ole Miss. And then he came back with, who was it? Patrick.
Wasn't it Williams?
Yeah. Dude from 49ers. Willis, yeah.
Willis.
And they never talked about Tennessee and Ole Miss. They talked about defensive strategy and stuff like that. And you could tell, could anybody listen or watch Peyton's reactions as people were talking? And he's just like, yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. We're going to practice with a wet ball, me and Jeff Saturday. Every time he says Jeff Saturday, I put a check mark because me and Jeff Saturday practiced that at least twice a practice. We never had it. We had a Super Bowl ring. I don't know if you heard about it. We did that, and we were in a tsunami. And
he was talking about it because one of the games against – before they showed the clip, too, against the Packers where he lost it, and it was a safety.
Yep.
And he said ever since then they practice it twice a day.
Yeah. I just loved it. I liked it llast week, and I loved it even more this week. And I think that we're going to localize that. And Steve and I, we're going to do it with Billy, with your team down in Texas. But we all know what happened to that. The coin flip that never happened. And then the
Champs, baby.
Co-champs.
Champs, baby.
Are you guys, is anybody else excited as I am about Monday Night Football because of those two now?
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it draws more interest.
Did you say Monday Night Football?
Yeah.
Okay, I can barely hear what you're saying right now.
Monday Night Football.
I'll tell you what, watching Peyton and Eli, first of all, you can't not love the Manning brothers. If you've watched Peyton's, the College Bowl with Cooper, you could tell, I don't know if that's, if they do outtakes or whatever, but it seems like there's no script and they just go. And they're hilarious. Very entertaining. So on top of that, watching Peyton Manning call these games and try to not be a fan while he's doing it, it's awesome because you can tell how much he really does love the sport.
I think the only problem that I have with that is Eli stinks. Like I just think he
He's
has
boring.
no sense. He's so boring. He has no sense of humor. He's just kind of there because his last name's Manning. Like all the guests are good. Like what's his name? Jeff's boy last night said the same thing. When a guest comes on, like basically the show stops and they just talk to the guest, like the football game kind of stops. But anytime Eli talks, I'm like, oh God, shut up. Okay, Peyton's talking again. Here we go.
Well, last week it was.
No, he does. He has the personality of a rock.
Yeah, Eli's fire alarm went off, which was hilarious because you're seeing them talk back and forth, and all of a sudden you hear boop, 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 and Peyton goes, "Eli, what'd you do?" He's like, "My fire alarm's going off."
He probably said it just like that. My fire alarm's going off.
He did. He just kind of sat there, and I'm thinking to myself, dude, if your fire alarm's going off, why did you? Bye-bye. Or check on your family, or do something, Eli. Don't do the same thing that you did when you were the quarterback for New York, and that's absolutely nothing. Just stand there and let the Eli Manning face.
Yeah. Well, to his credit, he got 2 Super Bowl rings, so just standing there being their quarterback. But that's what's crazy is like nobody talked about. I mean, even though Peyton only had won one at one point, and Eli had still won 2. Nobody gave a crap about Eli. Like it didn't matter that you went and beat the undefeated New England Patriots and you won a Super Bowl twice, and everybody was like, "Yeah, we still like Peyton better," you know. And then Peyton wins 2, and it's like he's the ultimate Super Manning now, and like Eli's still sitting over there going, "Hey, everybody, I got 2 rings too."
Does personality make it that much different?
Oh, 100%.
What, in regards to watching somebody do something?
Well, I mean, you look at the Manning brothers, and I'm not going to say that Eli's stats are necessarily par with Peyton's, but if this guy has a personality and is a likable person, and this guy's just kind of mush, no offense, do you favor the personality guy, even with their numbers being the same?
Yeah,
I think in general. I mean, if you think about watching certain quarterbacks, I'm not saying somebody's personality is going to depend on whether or not I root for them as a player, but just in general, the enjoyment that I get from watching anything that has to do with Peyton Manning, it could be commercials, it could be interviews, anything. He is hilarious. His Saturday Night Live skit is still one of my favorite all-time skits of TV in general.
When he was throwing the little kids.
So that person is going to get – oh, yeah. I mean, that was just unbelievable. But anyways, watching these people and the way they interact with the public, I'm going to be a much, much bigger fan of somebody that can catch my attention a lot faster than anybody else just sitting there saying, "Yeah, I don't know, man, I think it's my fire alarm." And that's it. You know what I mean?
Well, dude, Peyton's more relatable to people. Like, you look at that Giants team, no one gave a shit about, Eli. Everyone liked Michael Strahan because he had a personality. Like, you could be like, oh, he can actually keep my interest. Not, you listen to Eli, and I almost feel like it's another version of Ben Stein. Like, if you have
he had Peyton kind of too, didn't he? Wasn't Odell on that team for a while too?
No, you're thinking of Bill Burris.
Well, he had Eli for 2 years.
Yeah, but the Super Bowl.
It wasn't long enough.
Yeah.
Talking about number 80, Cruz.
Yeah, he had Victor Cruz and Burgess and Manningham, Warren G. Harding grad.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like there was better personalities on that team than obviously Eli was, and even when he did have Beckham on the team, like Beckham was going to draw that attention to himself instead of, and Eli's not that guy who's going to be like, look at me over here or make conversation that people cared about listening to. So
I look at Peyton like a wrestler almost to a degree. Like he plays a character. Like when he played football, he was the quarterback of the Colts and the Broncos. Like he was all business all the time. Kind of to DJ, kind of reminds me of like the Undertaker. You know what I mean? All business all the time. And then now that when he quit, he went right into like Saturday Night Live, and he had to go over the top funny because he was so terrified that athletes bomb Saturday Night Live. They normally bomb it, and he was so funny, and everybody loved it, and he just kind of ran with it.
Well, I think
he was on that Celebrity Roast too. and he was hilarious on there. Like he got up there and just, I mean, writers do the jokes for them, but still, you got to deliver it. I mean, any of us could get a joke written for us. If you can't deliver it and have some humor, it's going to fall short. So
I think it all comes down with Peyton to preparation. I mean, that's the number one thing that guy's been known for since day one. He gets it. He understands comedy. He understands personality. He understands all of that stuff. But I think, and he'll tell you, he's a perfect mix of his dad and his mom. And I think his mom's probably the jokester, and his dad's the preparation guy. And
exactly.
Cooper was supposed to be better than Peyton was before he got injured. And I think it kind of went, the Cooper and then Peyton and then Eli with talent. Not to say that Eli doesn't have talent, but I think he got whatever was left behind in the Archie gene pool. He didn't get much of that personality trait either. I think that he was probably the younger brother that was under the shadow of Peyton and still is to this day because Peyton's his personality.
Did somebody hide Godzilla somewhere?
That's
yeah. Yep, there's Godzilla right there.
Well, Eli has like the middle child syndrome. Like that's kind of like. Unfortunately, he was behind Peyton, so a lot of everything that happened for him might have been because of Peyton. Not that he wasn't talented, but I just remember him going in the draft, and he's like, I'm not going to San Diego. I'm not going to San Diego. And
well, that was his dad, too. That was them just being...
And I watched that actually this morning, coincidentally, and there was a lot of that people didn't like Eli right away. And Peyton was the savior in Indianapolis. You know what I mean? And Eli could have been the savior in what was it at that time? San Diego.
Yeah.
San Diego.
So
they thought the whole prima donna thing that you think you're better than this team because you're you, but and I think that soured people pretty quick.
Yeah, I am kind of. I guess. I didn't say it, so they can't yell at me. There's a lot of things that you could point out, but yeah, I mean, people didn't like John Elway right out of the jump because of what he did. Because it was at Baltimore that wanted to draft him, and he said no, and then actually got drafted by the Yankees, and then got drafted by the Broncos. And it took a while for people to warm up to John Elway. I don't think anybody ever really warmed up to Eli because when you think about his list of accomplishments, number one is what? 2 Super Bowls over Tom Brady. That's it.
Yeah, and you beat the undefeated team. So,
I'll take 2 Super Bowls. Baker will
two Super Bowls and a bland personality. You'd be okay with that?
Yeah, Baker will never even get to a Super Bowl. So,
like I was saying though, if you look at Peyton and you look at Cooper and you see how natural it is for those two. And on top of it, I'm going to tell you something right now. It was not a hard transition for Peyton Manning whatsoever to go from football to entertaining people. I guarantee you that was easy for him. It always has been because if you go back and you look at his mic'd up games, he was hilarious on the sidelines. He has always been funny, and it will always be funny. It is effortless for him. So trust me when I tell you, he is just a talent.
But he's also one of those guys, and I say this about Jim Tressel all the time, when he walks into the room, he takes it over. I mean, that he walked into the room. And Pat McAfee, I don't know if you guys heard that.
Apparently, he walked into a casino and took over the room.
That was hilarious. Comes out of the back room.
Finger guns, we're going to go red 18 here, Pat. Who is this?
Yeah, if you got a forehead that big, you're taking over the room no matter what. So.
I wish he would go into coaching, though, because I think he would be a good coach.
I think there's more money with what he's doing.
I agree. I just wish – I really do think he'd be a good coach, though.
I think that he would be – where I think he'd make the most money is if they – and this is a dream of mine, so nobody steal this, but if they turned like a late-night talk show host into sports, Peyton Manning would be an unbelievable talk show host for all of that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you take the garbage that they do, and I, no offense, I mean a little bit, what they do on the late night talk show host stuff, and you do that, let's say at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever it is with sports, right before the actual games happen, Peyton Manning would be hands down the best host for that. Because what did he host, the ESPYs, and he knocked it out of the park every single time. He's always been a favorite of mine, but even more so now that he's still relevant even after football.
Just like Paul was saying, it's not, like even when you have certain, like the roast, clearly those jokes are written, but it's not about having a joke written for you. The most important part of that is your delivery. And Peyton's been nailing it since day one. So
dude's so corny. That's why he's hilarious. Do we just feel better about Peyton Manning because he's got the accent? Like that, just a little bit warmer.
Yeah, I guess the jokes don't come off as like insulting. You can make fun of that stuff. I mean, again, like Rob was saying, the Saturday Night Live thing was absolutely hilarious, and it was a mixture of he could deliver the joke well. It was a good written joke. He can act, and you throw in that little bit of a Southern twang thing in there, and you're just like, okay, great, this is hilarious.
You want a little did you know? Did you know that the guy that Peyton hit, the little kid, that he hit in the back of the head with a football, he went to his wedding not too long ago, a couple years ago, I guess, something like that.
That's kind of funny.
That's neat. I thought that was when he said that, I was like, that's a pretty cool.
Could you imagine people like, dude, Peyton Manning's at your wedding? He goes, yeah, he's the one who hit me with a football in the head. Like that's his claim.
Well, did you also know that during that skit, Peyton had to, of course, their parents were there, and Peyton had to make sure it was okay that they ran this. And that kid's parents were basically like, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Hit him in the head.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, a couple things I want to talk about. Being Tuesday, I don't want to get too far down the stream. Give high school sports a little bit of a break as we're going to be kicking it up again Thursday and Friday this week. We'll have, as always, action for you all night long here on YSN. We got a lot of volleyball tonight, a lot of volleyball tomorrow. Thursday's prime time, and of course Friday's football all night on the network. But one of the things I want to talk about, Quinn, this Browns team that I'm hearing about, and Billy, maybe you can help me out with this. I keep hearing about these defensive pass rushers. For 6 months, I hear about these defensive pass rushers. Where are they at? Why are we not talking about them at this point? You played the Texans. There should have been 30 sacks. You had a third-string quarterback in. We'll talk about that. Are the Steelers hurting so bad that they will lose to the Bengals and be 1-2? We'll talk about that. Plus, we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about, and we will have your Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark? And all of that and more on the YSN Power Hour when we return right after this break.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-res Futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
All right, boys, you know what? It is time for... It's the Power Hour, stock up and stock down. So I want to know who in the NFL are your questions and their stock is down, and who are you just roll the dice with because you think that their stock's on the way up, and we all know how it is. It is buy low, sell high. Let's go EB. Thoughts on stock up, stock down this week?
I mean, stock that is up. A team that I definitely like. Or let me see here. I'm all over the Cardinals. Like, I feel like they're definitely high. Kyler Murray, is just a phenomenal athlete. They added in pieces as far as wide receivers. You know, they picked up a couple different running backs. Who was it? Old Connor from Pittsburgh or whatnot to fill in here and there as injuries and things go along, and their defense got better. Definitely all over on the Cardinals. Stock down. I'm still gonna say Green Bay. Like
Really?
I'm not impressed with them yet. Like you only put up 7, and then you really play a lackluster Detroit team that everyone should beat at this point in the season, right? Like, yeah, you know Detroit's gonna get 3 or 4 wins, and it's gonna be later on in the season as people get banged up, this and that. But you know, even for a while, they didn't do anything that really impressed you, and they should have won handedly, but they just haven't done anything to really sell me on them.
I gotta believe that when Peyton was having a hard time finding nice words to say about the Detroit Lions, then they're that bad. Sorry, Jeff, they are that bad. Rob, who you got? Stock up, stock down?
I'm gonna say stock up. Watching Stafford play quarterback for the Rams, and that target Cooper Kupp. I mean, that's like a match made in heaven right there, because you always knew how good Stafford could be with Detroit, and you know the grit that man has. I mean, we watched him get pounded into the ground how many times and actually still get up. That one game, I totally forget who they were playing, but he's basically walking back into the game like a gimp with his shoulder, and he goes in and gets the touchdown. You know, I mean, the guy's tougher than hell. And watching him actually play with an organization that would willingly build around a quarterback, already had the tools a quarterback needed to succeed. I mean, his numbers, it's a lot of fun watching him play quarterback for a team that can actually support their quarterback. Stock down, you know, like you were saying before the break about the Browns defensive line, you know, as a Browns fan, you know, we had a lot more hope this year going into, you know, previous years for 20 in a row. And then finally we have all this hope. Our defense was horrible last year. We were excited about that because of what they did during the offseason this season. And, you know, all the hype around Clowney, I told everybody from the get-go, if he stays healthy, great. But, I mean, his consistency is just it's not been there. And Garrett, I don't care what anybody says, Garrett has not been the same since COVID. He's lost a step. And his breathing alone is still clearly something's going on there. So that's definitely going to be my stock down as the Browns defensive line.
Paul, how about you?
My stock up, obviously. I mean, listen, I'm gonna be the homer pick. No, actually, I'd love to say the Raiders, and they are impressive right now. So, but no, my stock up actually is the 49ers. The 49ers are a good stock up. I mean, they're sitting there 2-0. I mean, they're going to get a good test this week against Green Bay. So, you know, see how that stock rises. If it goes a little higher, then you know, props to them. Stock down, man. I'd like to say Seattle. I know they're 1-1, but I mean, you would think right now they probably should have been 2-0, and they're going against an 0-2 Vikings team this week at Minnesota, and they're only a 2-point favorite. So I think Minnesota's going to give them some more troubles than people are anticipating. So
I'd actually pick Minnesota to win that game.
Well, those picks are coming Thursday, Rob.
Tomorrow,
Wednesday. Sorry.
Quinn?
Stock up is the Panthers for me. Darnold's playing really well, and their defense is incredible. Stock down, the Falcons. They stink. Matt Ryan is awful, and they are not going to be good at all.
We had them, 5 wins or something like that this year?
Something like that.
Falcons? I don't know.
Is Carolina's defense really that good, or did the Saints just play that bad?
No, I think they're that good. I mean, they played really well in week 1 too. I mean, the Saints were pretty pitiful, and granted they played the Jets, but they look pretty good.
I can't figure the Saints out. I cannot figure the Saints out. They're either going to be that good of a team that beat Green Bay or whatever showed up on Sunday. Oh my gosh. Billy?
Quinn actually stole my stock up, so I'm going to do 2 stock downs. I'm going to go stock down on rookie quarterbacks in the NFL. 2 of the biggest guys coming out, Trevor Lawrence and who's the pretty boy from the Jets?
Kyle Wilson.
Kyle Wilson. They stink. Whatever. He should change his name to They Both Stink, because they both stink. The biggest hype coming out of college since John Elway and Andrew Luck, and the guy can't play. He can't play in the NFL. I don't know if it's Urban Meyer or if it's the offense. I think it's a combination of that, because obviously he's got talent, but he looks like he doesn't belong in the NFL right now. Both up, and we all know what wait another week for Wilson, because we all know what Belichick does to rookie quarterbacks. He just confuses the hell out of them to make them throw the ball where he wants you to do. That's why he's like 23-2 or something against quarterbacks under the age of 24. I mean, he does ridiculous things. I mean, it just goes to show you why he's still the best coach in the National Football League. The other stock down I have is the Steelers running back. They can't figure out a way to run the football. They still can't. The second coming of Walter Payton, and the guy can't run the football, period. Figure it out. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, man, that stiff arm, though, Jesus.
Good stiff arm. Yeah, good stiff arm.
Wow.
Can't run the football.
I didn't think he was doing that bad. I don't know. I wasn't watching the game.
He scored his first touchdown. He scored, and he hasn't had over 50 yards rushing. So.
Well,
I agree with Trevor Lawrence, though. Me personally, I think as good as Trevor Lawrence was coming out of the NFL, like you said, the hype behind him was astronomical, and we just assumed automatically. And this is it. Kind of really drives me crazy that there's still as many people that there are that are under the assumption that if you bring a kid from college, no matter how good he was, you're automatically going to assume that he's going to be successful in the NFL, and that just is such a rarity. That me personally, Trevor Lawrence should have sat for a year, got a season under his arm, under his wing, and then come out next year and be an absolute stud, because they basically are getting ready to throw this kid to the wolves.
Yeah, to me, it's one of those things we talked about earlier. Like I think in the last segment about having being like Stafford being in a position to succeed. I think Trevor Lawrence was set up to fail, and it's mostly like the old school Peyton Manning way, like, hey, go out there and just figure it out. But the problem is he's got a coach who's never coached in the NFL, and half the staff has never coached in the NFL. So like, there's no experience in that organization at all. Like at all. They've had 2 winning years where like you can actually say like 2 AFC championship games with Mark Brunell, and then again and that was in 99 or 2000 or something like that. And then the last couple of years when they just did a fire sale, kind of reminded me of the Marlins, and they just got rid of everybody after a winning season. But they just don't have enough experience on that team. It's not all his fault, but with the hype that he did come out of college with, nobody expected him to go, 10-6 or 10-7 or whatever it is and make the play. Nobody expected that realistically. But he's got a terrible passer rating. He's holding on to the football too long. He's taking sacks. He's making throws that, like, it looks like Peyton would say, he's unprepared for a football game.
Yeah, my stock up is going to be the Buffalo Bills. I am sold on them, especially after their loss to Pittsburgh week 1. Obviously, it was Miami, right? Buffalo, Miami. Everybody's high on Miami this year, and listen, my guy came out slinging it. The green John Elway, as he's often referred to on this network, came out and just like he's a gamer. And
Tua did go down that game early.
Right, but then they win like 35-0 or something like that. Like, how much impact is Tua going to have on that football game?
I mean, take your starting quarterback out and see how much offense you have.
But he's not, to me, at this point, he's not that guy yet that's taken over any football game that I can remember. And somebody can call my bluff here, but I don't think Tua is that game. I think he is another one of those quarterbacks that he's basically a rookie quarterback, with a little bit of seasoning maybe. But I I don't think he's great. I don't think he's a joke necessarily like Will does. But I don't think that he's built around that offense. I think that's a gimmick offense that they're running right now, and Tua is just what he is. You know what I mean?
Lefty quarterbacks don't really make it, period.
I think Steve Young might have a thing to say to that.
So he's the anomaly.
That's true. Good point. Was Randall Cunningham a lefty too?
No.
Righty.
Michael Vick, Boomer Esiason, those would be another ones, but
I wouldn't even call Michael Vick I mean, is he an Hall of Famer?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he gets in.
But it's going to be a little bit harder for him to get in.
That's why he's doing media now, is to get those favors.
He's got to jump on CBS. All those guys get, or no, Fox. Fox is the one that all those guys get. I mean, you look at their thing and it's gold, 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 and then whoever the actual broadcaster is. My stock down is injuries in the NFL right now. I don't know if this has to do with 3 preseason games instead of 4. If it has to do with holding out stars because of contracts, or what this has to do with. We are 2 weeks into the season, and the Baltimore Ravens are completely annihilated. Offensively, defensively. The Steelers are the walking wounded, and you can go up and down the NFL roster, and there is a mash unit of all these guys. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the gruel is a little bit harder. The run is a little bit more, but injuries stink in the NFL right now, man. It is bad news, and fantasy football wires are going nutty right now. I mean, Texans down to their 3rd string quarterback. I mean, you look at that and a guy that I've never heard of, running around. I was like, who is this joker?
So is Deshaun Watson still out, or is he being told he's not allowed to participate, like the NFL saying it, or is it a team thing, or what's
DNP, as it's listed on the Houston Texans roster?
At some point, you're gonna have to put him back in, right?
Well, they're talking about re-enlisting him, yeah. They're talking about
activating, isn't it? They're like, yeah, we're just not gonna put him on active roster for this week or whatever it is, or pencil him in. But I mean, you're getting to the point to where.
What are
you
your
gotta
options?
Do something. Yeah, you either have to put him in there. I mean, he's still a heck of a talent, or trade him away. Get something out of him, because now look, it's just collecting dust at this point. If
you're the head coach of the Texans, you got to be like, listen, my job is to win football games. Period. You're going to fire me if I don't win football games. He's obviously the best player on the field now. If it's the NFL saying you can't play, that's one thing. But if the team's saying it, as a head coach, I'm at least going, this is my job. I may never get an opportunity to be another head football coach again in the NFL. You have to give me this player. I have to at least fight for it. Regardless of what happened off the field. If my job is to win football games, I'm not at the college level where I'm making a point and I'm trying to teach a lesson. That doesn't happen in the NFL.
Here's a perfect example, Billy. Do this. Name me the head coach of the Houston Texans, because I can't.
Exactly. And he, just like the Detroit Lions coach, they'll both never coach again.
That's Dan Campbell. I know that one, right?
That one's Dan Campbell. The Texans is Collie or something like that.
Well, that's a perfect exclamation mark on the point. Is I don't think the Texans care who the coach is. I don't think this is their solution. This is the fall guy, because, hey, listen, you're going to lose 14, 16 games this year. You're going to be out.
Like Dusty Baker being hired as a 1-year deal to the Astros. Hey, you know what? Screw it. Just take the job.
But you look at this, and the Texans at this point, I think, and it might have been one of you guys that said this last week or the week before, Watson, they're almost afraid to put him in because they're afraid his stock will drop. They still believe that this is a guy that can collect you 1 game player and 4 picks.
Here's the problem. The problem is what they asked for before the draft was so high. 3 first-rounders and a player or something like that, like a star player, somewhere in that ballpark. Those guys, those teams that were maybe thinking about making that deal, got quarterbacks in the draft. Okay, so now say there was probably 3 teams, maybe 4 teams that wanted to give out that for Deshaun Watson. Now are saying, well, we have Mac Jones, or now we have Sam Darnold, and now we have Tua, and now we have these guys. Okay, so now they're like, we're not giving up 3 first-round picks for anybody. We have a quarterback who we'd like, or potentially could like. Those teams aren't available. So now the stock is already dropped just for that. So now if you just don't play him, now you're going to take a rusty quarterback who hasn't played football in a year? We've seen this before.
I think there's 3 potential spots that he could play for, and one of them's Miami. I think Miami's kind of showed their cards and saying, we want Watson. I think Detroit has the picks to get him if they want him, but for some reason they believe Jared Goff is their guy. Peyton Manning, again, saying that he could be a championship quarterback if they use those draft picks to build around Goff. I'm not sold on that. And I also think New York, and I'm talking about, well, either team really, but I think that the Giants would be a good landing spot for Watson, being that he could do a lot for that offense in a very quick way. So I'm very interested.
Washington? I thought Washington, I don't know if they have the picks to give, but Washington would generally be that organization that'd be like, screw it, let's do it.
They had enough.
Washington's quarterback's playing pretty good though right now.
Yeah.
Heineke.
And I don't know how we got sidetracked to Watson, because I'll be honest, I couldn't care less about that dude. But going back to what DJ was saying about the stock down injuries, it's a huge concern. If you think about it, you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar organization here that is just way too much involved to realistically have to deal with. If you think about it, in the last I forget the year, I want to say it was 5 years. I want to say it was like 320 ACLs in the NFL. 320 ACL injuries. And you're talking about a very physical sport. We know it can happen, but at the same time, if you're having that many injuries, that you do the math, it's basically 60 a year or whatever. But there's got to be something to be done in some form of strength and conditioning. If you have to work out with more rubber bands or something, to strengthen those things up. Or, if you think about this too, look at the NFL in the 80s or the 90s, even the 2000s, and now look at it. If you look at DBs, they might as well, they could be wearing shorts. There's no more knee pads, things like that. The only people that are really protected from those injuries are the offensive linemen, and that's it. So
I think that's probably one. That's a good point. But the other point I would make is the athletes today are nowhere near the athletes what they were in the 90s and 80s. They're so much more freakishly athletic. You're getting defensive linemen running 4.3. You talk about guys like even in the 2000s, like a Javon Curse. That's common now. So guys are on a dime cutting left and right. So these ACLs are going left and right because of that reason alone. The quick shifts and wide receivers are now quicker. They're better route runners than they've ever been. So you have to give cushion, and then on the quick hitches, you're just planting and coming right back up. And when you're planting, boom, there goes your knee. It's freakish it's freakish plays that are happening. These guys are, getting injured, and even they're getting injured on plays that are no contact. And that's kind of the thing that I've noticed so much anymore is the no contact. Guys are getting hurt, not even having contact with anybody. They're tearing their ACLs or spraining their ankles. Guys and quarterbacks are spraining both their ankles. Who knew you could sprain both ankles at the same time? Apparently, Carson Wentz figured it out.
Yeah, my question would be not question or curiosity would be, how many ACL injuries were caused because of contact versus no contact? Because
Will asked a good question too about the turf. I'll tell you this: I tore my ACL on. Paul, you remember this on flag football of all things, and that was grass. So, the thing is with an ACL, it can literally. I know when I did mine, I was turning to grab the flag. And I had my left foot planted. Somebody blocked me, and I heard 2 pops. So there's so many ways that injury can actually happen. You could be running out of bounds. You could trip over a bench. You can, whatever. So
I tore mine in a rundown. Mine was in a rundown. No contact at all. Just plant, turn, pop, done.
There's also not that many turf fields in the NFL compared to college. College is almost everywhere. So the NFL has maybe 15% of the stadiums or the dome stadiums. Yeah, you could probably Google it, but there's not that many. The ones that have dome, you can go ahead and say they got turf, except for Arizona. They actually have grass in their dome. Outside of that, New Orleans has turf. Indianapolis has turf, and probably LA and Vegas. Maybe Vegas might actually have grass in theirs as well, like Phoenix does. So it's not that many.
17 out of 31 are grass.
Yeah. So it's 50-50 then.
So here's the other thing is most people don't realize and understand that a lot of these ACL injuries and injuries in general are happening because our bodies aren't made to do what these NFL players are doing, these athletes are doing nowadays. Our bodies are made to go to the grocery store, to hunt, and to do all these things. It's what we were supposed to do as humans evolved, right? We're not necessarily supposed to run 4.240s and be able to turn like these guys turn. Athleticism is the key word in this, is because most of this stuff is because your knee, your ACL is supposed to, I believe, support you and stabilize you from doing what we're trying to do with it. And obviously we're overstepping our bounds a little bit. So injuries will happen as people get bigger, faster, and stronger. But lucky for us, science is getting better, so those injuries are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And the survival rate of an NFL athlete in coming back and having their career resurrected is almost 99% now with ACL injuries and things of that nature. So, I mean, the dude fractured an ankle on Sunday, and he's going to be back in 8 weeks for the Steelers, an offensive lineman.
I'll just never forget Adrian Peterson. He tore his ACL and his MCL and was back and what was it? Like, he was back before the season was over. So that was like, people were making it a big deal. Like, hey, only Adrian Peterson. You remember this? Only Adrian Peterson can come back from an injury like that and be as good as new, and if not, come back the same year. Now you're starting to see it all the time.
And what's a little bit crazy is you're seeing high school students starting to come back faster and faster from these devastating, or what used to be devastating injuries. That concerns me a little bit because they don't necessarily have the trainers that these pros do, and they don't have the dedication of 8 hours a day every day for 6 months to do it. And then they come back, and some of them, we've seen it, they get it again. And
one of Quint's players did it. Sweeney.
Justin.
He told.
Yeah, the rehab. If you could dedicate your time to it, the rehab is ridiculous now. It's sometimes the rehab's harder than just actually getting better.
That is going to do it for the base of our show, which brings us, of course, to what everybody's favorite. They always talk about this, so let's give it to them, boys. Joe Dickey Electric, what's your spark? Presented by our friends over at Joe Dickey Electric. Visit them on the web, DickeyElectric.com. Anything commercial, anything residential, anything electrical, anything with that spark, you need to go visit our friends at Joe Dickey Electric. Billy, lead us off there, Kenny Lofton.
Man, I got a negative spark. It's kind of should have been used yesterday, but it's still kind of the same issue as just my computer. Like, for some reason, like yesterday, my computer shut down and it's just not running. It hasn't been running the same. I had to do all these manual, YouTube things. I should have just called Brian. He probably would have had a better reasoning, but I didn't. I chose not to call Brian and tried to fix it in a hurry. And probably what I did screwed it up even more because now my picture's all fuzzy and hot mess.
Quincy?
Yeah, mine's a negative spark. It's the lady that drives a Jeep Cherokee from here. I don't know where, but she came across yesterday and went 25 miles an hour all the way to Columbiana, and it pissed me off bad. And he couldn't pass because there was nowhere to go. I couldn't pass him, and I was
Did
pissed.
you give her the bird?
Oh, yeah, and a couple words.
The double bird?
Yeah.
Bird.
Paul?
I got two negative sparks today, and they both happened within the last hour. So as I was driving over here to the weight room, there's gates that block off the driveways in certain parts of this parking lot, and the person in front of me went through the gate. Only one side of the gate was open, and they opened their window and pushed the other one as they drove through. And I didn't see it, and it swung back, and I stinking hit it. And you just heard this, wah, 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 wah. I mean, I got Coach Allegretto was in the parking lot. He stopped and turned around, and he's like, did those people just do that? And then they sped through the parking lot out of here. And I mean, thankfully nothing's broke, but I have a scrape on the front grill of my truck from a stinking gate. And I want to go back and look on the film and see who it is, because they came from the high school side.
Steve Gilmartin, get on it.
And then the other negative spark, it's been kind of going on since we've been talking on the show, and I wanted to get confirmation of it. We have a second game gone. So no Ursuline, no Cheney.
Oh, no.
Confirmed. Athletic directors confirmed it. So Cheney is down. All 3 levels of football. So Ursuline's going to be looking for somebody if they can find a replacement. So we'll see if they can or not.
Beaver Local.
Yeah, maybe get Beaver Local.
Oh, can you imagine? Oh, I don't think Beaver Local signs up for that game.
Somebody's got an echo.
I don't know who it is. I got earbuds in.
So we'll see.
Well, that's bad news and then worse news. I don't know whichever one you want to go 1 and 1A, Paul, but I'm sorry about that. And obviously, I hope your truck feels better soon with that scratch. But Steve Gilmartin will be on it. He'll take care of it for you.
Yeah.
Mush? Go for it.
I could barely hear you. I just call. Messed up the mic. So, this is just I'm going to help a few people out. So if you're younger, if you're older, you have kids. Bullying. Let me tell you something right now. If you're listening to this, you bully people, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice. Stop it because people won't ever forget this, right? Be a better person. Don't think you have to say something that you think it's funnier than like just because of a group of kids that you might want to laugh out of. This can be a flip in your life, but the things you say to other people can actually hold on to a lot longer. And I'm telling you something right now. If you ever need any kind of recollection of how it might feel, just picture yourself in that same person's shoes and realize what they're going through. It ain't cool. You look like an idiot.
I could only hear a little bit of that, but the gist was, no bullying, right? Did I get that?
Yeah, no bullying.
Okay. I don't know what happened. I think Rob had the echo, so he tried
to
push out. Okay.
I got a freaking incoming call and it messed up my head.
You got an incoming call. That's the word. We'll let you spit it back, Rob, and you'll be able to use that again, hopefully, when you don't get an incoming call. EB?
Negative spark. Sunday we started fall league for basketball, and it's nothing crazy. Like, it's more so just fun. Well, there was some comments said to me by a set official who is also a coach at one of our schools and locally. And, generally you kind of sit there and you poke fun, and he's like, hey, how they do. And it's preseason basketball, no one talks on defense move, this and that. And he in turn decided to attack me personally and say, I'm sorry, what are you, just a JV coach? Oh, what division do you coach at? Oh, just Division II, and kind of berate, I guess, where I coach or whatnot. So with that being said, I just want to put out a friendly reminder, Bud, that as a coach, you are supposed to set an example for not only, your players, but especially when your players are in front of you. And I just want to give a quick reminder, your players who play for me, which is majority of your varsity team, I have more wins with them than you ever will get.
Zinga. Nice one, EB. Very, very... No bullying, by the way. That's BS, and you know it. No bullying even coaches. We don't want that stuff here. I'm going to go a positive spark, and I'm going to go with just being able to sit down with Coach Hake and Seth Antrim, Coach Antrim from Boardman High School, this morning, side by side, being able to talk to them about stuff. It's just great to talk to coaches, great to talk to players, and great to talk to business owners about what not necessarily we do, but what this area needs, and then we can help fulfill. it was a great conversation. It might make you dizzy. We were on the turntable at Koofleitner's today, going around and around and around and around. But there's great conversation, not necessarily as long nor as political as the last week's. I know EB is going to be disappointed about that, but there is a one-liner at the end, EB, that I know you'll love, because we talked about fears, being that the Halloween is creeping up on us. We talked about what each coach is afraid of on the field and off the field, and I guarantee you can probably figure out what Coach Hake is afraid of off the field. So make sure you tune into that. It's available now at ysnlive.com. Also, I want you to go out and vote for your favorites player on this week's Big Dogs of the Valley, brought to you by Bear Brothers. A ton of votes, almost 100,000 votes last week, if I'm not mistaken, just on the volleyball alone. Over 100,000, I think 130,000 if we were combining with football. We'd love to see that again this week. These kids love when people are getting behind them. Vote for your favorite player. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about who you would vote for, who you're going to carry the stick for in regards to this week's Bear Brothers Big Dog of the Valley. Polls are open. They're open till midnight on Saturday. Get out and vote as many times as you can for your favorite player. Lots of great talent to choose from this week. Another deep ballot on our Bear Brothers Big Dogs of the Valley. With that said, that's going to complete our show. We appreciate you stopping by, spending an hour with us and chatting. As always, the chat box is open on our show, so we want to hear from you, and we want to get your takes on the YSN Power Hour. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us, and of course, we will see you tomorrow. It's NFL Pick'em Wednesday right here on the Power Hour. We'll see you later. Maybe.